Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me, Only Run Very Noob, as I try to navigate this Bravo into various matchups in the classic constructed format. Today we are playing against Uzuri. I believe Uzuri is a pretty favored matchup. I used to think it was 50-50, but I think it's fairly favored these days. Um, they just have a real hard time beating the hammer. My sideboard plan in this video was to play a lean 60 and cut out some attacks, always having the reacts in. I don't think that's what I do anymore, though. I think I'm just gonna like fat stack 70 and just try to never get fatigued. So we see them fat stacking up to 70. They don't have the fatigue helmet, but they do have Black Tech Whispers. Alright, we get humbled here, which is a little annoying because I'd like to keep the Spinal Crush, but I think I just end up blocking with Spinal Crush and Buckle. We don't want to use the Unmovable, I don't think, because I'd really like to keep it, but maybe I use the Unmovable here. Having Unmovable in Arsenal next turn cycle would be nice, but also having the Spinal Crush would be nice to ensure that we have a threat. But I think the Unmovable is just a little bit better than having a threat, because we might still get a threat. If we don't, we can always just hammer for 6, and having Unmovable in Arsenal is just like a really good safety net. Having a defense reaction in Arsenal against Uzuri is usually quite nice. So yeah, here we're just going to hammer for 6, gain 3 with the Sigil, and then Arsenal the Unmovable. As it turned out, I think this is probably even better than Spinal Crushing. I think our life total is quite important because it's going to be hard for them to fatigue us, even with 70 cards, just because hammering for 6 is so efficient. It costs us no cards from deck, like 0 fatigue rate, and it costs them like 2 to block it. So if we just like hammer and don't die, I think that's kind of how I want to play this matchup these days. When I used to just play it more mid-rangey and trade and try to get big crush effects, like when they don't have an arsenal or something, I think now I just kind of want to like keep my life total high and hammer him for 6 a bunch. Here we're looking to just play the Unmovable from Arsenal, pitching one of our blues, and then we can make a surge, command and conquer, and Arsenal the sink below. Again, just keeping a react in Arsenal is nice. It allows us to play around Isolate, because having a react in hand doesn't really allow us to play around Isolate into command and conquer or something. We notice them immediately use their flick knives on like turn 2 here. Not sure that that's very effective for them, because with only 1 dagger they're really not going to be able to threaten our life total if we're trying to fatigue them. And all he did was hit us with a humble, which doesn't matter. Even if it was like a shakedown, we could have just like played the sink below to stop it if we wanted. Or even like not play the sink below. He chooses blue, takes our only blue. We make a surge with command and conquer, and then Arsenal the sink below is like a fine line as well. But I don't think the humble on hit effect is doing anything to us in this position. So maybe our opponent is just kind of learning Uzuri, and I don't know, just wanted to flick a nerve scalpel the first time it would have let an on hit through. Here I'm going to use both defense reactions to stop the shakedown to throw the crippling crush. This is a play I probably wouldn't make right now. I would probably just block 3 and then use 1 react and then hammer for 6 and Arsenal the other react. But this line's not bad. Like, resolving Crippling Crush is definitely very good for fatigue rate. It's 1 card that's going to cost them 3 or 2 in an equipment. And yeah. I don't think you want to be trading damage with Uzuri so much these days because in the late game, they just have ways to kill you that are a lot easier than your ways to kill them. Like, of course, if they get super low, we can dominate kill them, but that requires a big hand, where they only really need, like, an isolate and another card that does damage to leak damage, because they can, like, 2-card dominate us for 6, and we can't really do that back to them. And then they also have Shred, so if they go, like, isolate, if they have a 3-card hand, they can even isolate, flip it into a 6, and Shred. And then we end up just like taking 6. So the end game, I think they're favored. So we just kind of want to keep our life total high so that we don't get to that critical point. In this recorded video, though, I'm not sure I was like quite as all in on that mindset. Kind of missed that last turn cycle. I could go back and see what I did here. Yeah, he goes Nimblism into Isolate. Okay, so yeah, we can only block with 1 card, but we're only taking 3, and then we get to Spinal Crush him back, which is quite nice. Hand like this, yeah, we're just trying to block as much as possible and then send the hammer back. We don't even really have a card we want in Arsenal. Buckle not being like that great against them, although I guess we could threaten their Black Tech Whisperers. But I think just blocking damage and then throwing back 6 is way better. Maybe not though. Maybe the Black Tech Whisperers are kind of key for them to do like a big 2-attack turn, like Death Touch into something, or like flip, shake down into a Death Touch. So maybe I am supposed to just take 3 there to kill their boots. I don't know. I don't think I would do that. I think our life total is more important than their boots. They might not even get a good spot to use their boots, right? I generally take the Spider's Bites. We even have a non-attack we can block with, so it's like fine. Anything but Shakedown here is like fine for us. Shakedown's a little annoying because they take the unmovable. They flip in a Death Touch, and I think I'm considering using the unmovable here. But I think we can just take 3 and just hope they don't pick Inertia. Even if they pick Inertia, we can like dominate the disable, which isn't great, but I have a feeling that they're not really going to pick Inertia with us having a Surge and 3 cards. Probably just going to go like Blood Rot and get their, you know, guaranteed value over Inertia, which isn't really guaranteed. And I've almost never seen anyone pick Frailty. It's usually between Blood Rot and Inertia. But Inertia is generally only good if you already have an Arsenal card. At least that would be my thinking, is because maybe I want, like, have a React I want to use or something. But if I had a React, I probably would have used it on the Death Touch, like in Arsenal. Like a Sink Below or Fate Foreseen in Arsenal or something. But yeah, we're just going to end up hammering for 6 and arsenaling the unmovable. The unmovable in Arsenal is worth more than 2, so we're not going to pitch it to pay. Again, here we're just going to use our blue unmovable because we have a reaction in hand we can replace it with. So we can just respond to Uzuri by playing the unmovable, and then we can hammer for 6 and Arsenal Fate Foreseen. Just keep grinding him out here. He uses red Shred, so we could even use Fate Foreseen here if we really want to, which I think we will, because if he picks blue, we just don't have a turn. Of course, he doesn't have Flick Nerve Scalpel anymore. Just bottom the Starstruck. I don't imagine I'm going to have a big enough hand to use it. Might as well just keep it for late. And separate the 2 Starstrucks with this blue. Because of course we put the star on the bottom, and then we're pitching another one. We don't want them next to each other because they don't really help cast the other one. We want blues next to our Starstrucks. letting the spider bite hit. We're kind of hoping we can just block with like Stamp Authority and throw Crippling Crush. Actually, block with nothing to throw Crippling Crush and Arsenal and Movable is fine too. We've already seen Humble. And here he gets to Shakedown us, which is worth quite a bit of life. But if he picks red, he picks blue. I think Uzuri is when you keep a 4-card hand should probably just pick red. Yeah, because he's going to pick blue here. He's going to take a blue, and we still get to throw Crippling Crush. And if I have a 4-card hand, like, maybe he's afraid to Rouse the Ancients, which would be, like, the only 4-card hand I'd maybe want to keep that doesn't have a red. And he gets rid of the Unmovable, which is a little annoying. We're not going to have that for later. But resolving Crippling Crushes is very good. He has 10 more cards than us starting, and I think these 2 Crippling Crushes that he has to block sort of even the odds here for us. We're going to have 43 in deck. He has 43 in deck. I guess he has 45 in deck plus hand, and we only have 43, but we're going to make up that ground quite quickly. He blocks with a bunch of reds here, which I think is good for us. Reds are definitely better on offense than defense. Here's a spot I think I make a mistake. I think I'm just supposed to cover this up with armor, because we're giving him an opportunity to Black Tech Whisperer into like Codex or another Leave No Witnesses. And it's super easy for us to just block it up with legs. Yeah. I think when they have 1 card behind and boots up, you're definitely supposed to stop. And he actually ends up using Black Tech Whisperer into Codex, which ruins our Terra Sunder turn. It sort of ruins everything for us here, because he can get back a Death Touch because he has Tunic up, and it's just all bad. And we could have avoided this sort of blowout, all for the low cost of just blocking with our Iron Rot legs. I don't really know what attack I should get back here, because I'm going to end up blocking this Death Touch probably with the 2 remaining cards. So we don't necessarily have to get like a Command and Conquer and save a card, although we could get Command and Conquer, discard a card, block 1 plus Crater Fist and Iron Rot legs, and keep a blue to Command and Conquer whatever they ponder. Or we could just discard a card, get back like Crippling Crush, and when he Death Touches us, just block 6 and sort of move on. I think both lines are reasonable. I'm not 100% sure which is better. I think I probably would lean towards blocking with my whole hand and not using equipment, because equipment is limited resource, and I think it's probably good to just block when you can and use equipment when he's like dominating you, potentially. So yeah, I use equipment here, and I think that's kind of loose. It's like a reasonable line though. Like I don't think this line is like terrible. I just think it's probably worse than not using equipment. Because we'd still even have like an arsenal, a big attack in arsenal, which would be nice for any future codexes, or even to like resolve a Crippling Crush at some point. CNC is even just for 5, which allows him to use a 2-block here, which is a little annoying. Again, not blocking Spider's Bite. We're not at the point where we should be blocking those yet. We even have a non-attack in hand. This is kind of annoying. Just blocking with Command and Conquer. It's very interesting, because he could still have like a Death Touch and arsenal he could come in with. Leave No Witnesses isn't as bad. With him having no arsenal, resolving a Terra Sunder is kind of nice. He'd have to block with like Crown plus Flick Knives if he draws a 4 block, and he'd even have to give us Tunic if he doesn't draw 4 block, or just like get hit with the Tear Asunder effect. But again, our life total is getting kind of low, and it's weird to go back and watch this game because I think I sort of switched philosophies that I think protecting my life total is very important, and I shouldn't be trading damage like how before I would just kind of like try to trade damage and outvalue them. I think you'll win more games just by utilizing the efficiency of the hammer and protecting your life total. So you don't get to a point in the end game where you just like kind of die to isolate plus a 2-drop plus shred. I think my turn-to-turn play and like value analysis is pretty good. Like I think that's generally the ability that's gotten me as far as I've gotten in like tournament play. But big picture stuff I could definitely still struggle with. I feel like I understand my matchups sort of at a micro level, but at a macro level, I think I have a lot of work to do, and it's actually quite exciting for me to just be humbled and work on how to better win a lot of matchups. We could block 6 here, but I'm just going to block 3, I believe. I don't want to get out fatigued. And it's funny, as soon as I say that, I just throw the Cranial Crush, which is only 2 more damage than a hammer, but actually costs me a card. I'm probably feeling being at 6 less life and wanting to like turn that around. But the whole reason I'm at 6 less life is from an error, not playing around Black Tech Whisperers into Codex, and then like trading damage to Tear Asunder my opponent. It's sort of my fault that I was at such a lower life. Catch a little break here. He just rouses, or Ravenous Rabbles and hits a blue, which is pretty nice for us. Plays a Nimblism, so we don't really have to be afraid of too much trickery here. It's just going to be like an attack, because I'm sure he doesn't want to swap out the attack that he's Nimblisming. 10 is a lot of damage, though. Looks like I'm just going to block 6 to hammer back for 4. Arsenaling a Sigil. One good thing about our game state is we have quite a bit of armor left. They only have 1 armor block with their Tunic, so we're definitely ahead on the armor game. But we're getting at that critical life total where we might have to start overblocking with armor, and that's never good. We do have a Sigil in Arsenal, or in hand that's soon going to be an Arsenal. And I believe we have 1 or 2 Sigils left. Like, I don't remember mentioning any Sigils played, but maybe I played one. It's difficult to remember. So we're going to gain back a little bit of life here at some point, and we might lull him into trading damage, thinking we're at a lower life total than we're actually at. Nimble Strike's an interesting one. Just blocking 2. Backstab's kind of scary, but we're going to end up just blocking 3 with Thunderquake, using up the Spider's Bite on the last attack. Just looking to protect our life total, gain some life. If we have to sink below like a follow-up, we get to, but if we don't have to, which is what happens here, catch a little break, we get to just like gain 6 and Arsenal a sink below. And hope that he can't utilize a 5-card hand here. Again, we have a blocking hand. Don't really want to block the Spider's Bite though. He buff power with Enlightened Strike. So we get to just block with a non-attack action and a sink below. Keeping a sink below an Arsenal, and then also being able to hammer back for 6. That was quite a lucky break. That was a weak 5-card hand from our opponent. They're actually out fatiguing us here because of the 10 cards they started with extra over us. But both me and my opponent are getting the critical life totals, and eventually hammer for 6 is just going to be a lot more costly for their deck size than their dagger for 1 will be against us. E-Strike go again. Just going to block 5, I think, with Rouse the Ancients in a blue. One of the other blues. Probably Debilitate so that I have less cards. No, I guess I'm just blocking 2. It's very interesting to me. Yeah, it's a very interesting decision by me. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. And then I'm just going to use armor so that I can Terra Asunder him back. Maybe a little panic from me, trying to flip the tempo. Because at 7 life now, he is going to be able to like Spider's Bite me out of the game if I just do nothing. So with him having no armor and no arsenal, this Terra Asunder is like more than likely going to hit. So I kind of see what I was thinking there, but I think it was sort of a loose, panicky turn cycle by me. I didn't have to take 3 from that E-Strike. I didn't have to use like all of my armor here. He blocks with 1 from his Tunic. Not too sure why my opponent would do this. He doesn't block anything else. He just uses it to not die so that he can keep a 2-card hand, which I have to imagine is a mistake. We can just take this 1. We can even dominate a Starstruck if this doesn't kill us. So yeah, he's looking for a scraps for 5. We can just use our defense reaction just in case. We don't want to be like under dagger lock yet if we don't have to. But presumably this dominated Starstruck is going to kill our opponent here. So really weird endgame. Really sort of loose play by me. And I think our opponent taking 6 damage to just Spider's Bite into looking for a scrap was also kind of loose. Not 100% sure why they wouldn't just like block 3, take 4, discard 2, and then use the Tunic counter to looking for a scrap for 5 or something. I'm not an Uzuri player though, so maybe they had a little bit of the same panic that I had. Hopefully this game was fun to watch. Hopefully we learned a little bit. I've learned quite a bit about this matchup recently. The way I played this game is not how I would play it today. Yeah, I like to just throw all my cards in and block and hammer and sort of make them beat that. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, comment, like, subscribe down below. Let me know how you think about my new Uzuri plan that I've been talking about. Let me know if you think my old Uzuri plan that we've watched a couple times on this channel, maybe you think that one's a little bit more effective. That'd be fun to hear about uh, why you pick your playstyle into this matchup. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So, thanks for watching. Bye.